Lust is a big problem on spiritual path. How to control? Will there be more temptations as you travel through inner regions?
Yeah, lust is a big problem, and we all know that lust has been a very big problem, the most difficult out of the five vices. And of course, it is not the last to go. Lust is the cause of a seeking of pleasure by the mind. That's what it really is. It starts from there. If the mind finds more pleasure in meditation, lust disappears. Because the mind seeks pleasure wherever it can get. The mind seeks variety of pleasures wherever it can get. Once it gets more pleasure inside, it begins to lose interest in the lust outside. On the other hand, you can be attracted to those pleasures inside too and be held up from further progress by the temptations inside. The astral plane, the first plane of sensory perceptions, is full of much more temptation than even this physical world. So many of us get trapped there too. Just like we are trapped in this world, lust is just one of the things, we are also trapped in the astral world. There are so many seekers, so many initiated seekers of perfect living masters who are stuck there because of the same reason. Therefore, when Master tries to be exceptionally kind to us, he blindfolds us. He blindfolds and takes us to the regions and says, no need to see it now, you can see it on the way back when we have had something still higher. So that's the way to control which masters use with us when we find that we are likely to be held up. But if somebody is a master, not a perfect master, and he's only taken us to heaven or hell, which is automatically in the astral plane, and all the attractions are there, this is beautiful, this is really heaven. It's heaven because it copies the same kind of pleasures of this world in a better way, in a more intense way. So the temptations are still very strong at that level. And that is why, but they take you away from the lust of this world, but they create a new lust in you for the next world. So in order to really go home, one has to wish to truly go home. People have different desires and wishes. And our desires and wishes get fulfilled, no matter when and how. So if our desire is to have pleasures of this world or more pleasures of a higher world, we get stuck there. But if you don't want to have that, some people say, we just want to go to a true home, please blindfold us, we don't want to be interested in this thing. They do skip that and go straight. This is an interesting thing the masters decide. Based upon how many desires we have had, they sublimate the desires, fulfill the desires, either here or inside, and then take us. Each one of us has a different set of karma. Each one of us has a different state of consciousness right now. We have evolved through so many lives up to this point. So master decide for each one what is the best way to go. My own master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh, had a master whose name was Baba Jaimal Singh. Baba Jaimal Singh was following a guru in Agra at a distance from Punjab, whose name was Swami Seth Sibdyal Singh. He was popularly called Swami Ji. He was in love with his master, like all good disciples are. In those days, there was no iPhones and no telephones and no system of communication. The only way was to write letters. So once he was missing his master so much, he was missing Swamiji so much, he wrote a letter. He said, my beloved Sadhguru Swamiji, I am missing you so much. Please give me permission to come to Agra and have your darshan. I am missing you, haven't seen you for a while, and something is happening in my heart. I can't stand it. I'm feeling away from you. Letter went. Letters were very slow in those days. The reply comes after 1 month. And Swamiji writes, my dear son Babu Jaimal Singh, I have received your letter and I am very happy to know that your soul is traveling in the higher regions of Khand Brahman. Jaimal Singh looks at the letter. He says, my soul is going nowhere. This must be a mistake. Swamiji meant to send this letter to somebody else. By mistake, he sent it to me. So he wrote back, my beloved master, I am sorry the letter you sent me does not seem to apply to me. My soul is going nowhere. And I am just missing you. I want to come there. Please give me time and permission to come and have your darshan. Second letter comes after a month. And Swamiji writes, my dear son Jamal Singh, I am very happy to know your soul is going into higher regions of Brahman. So far as coming to see me is concerned, come next month on the first week. Armed with these two letters, Baba Jamal Singh goes to Swamiji and places these letters in front of him. He says, Master, these letters don't apply to me. Now Swamiji was sitting in his little ashram outside, and about 10-12 people were sitting around him at that time. When Jamal Singh arrived and placed the letters, he said, Master, these don't apply to me. My soul goes nowhere. I was just missing you so much. And therefore you called me. I am happy to have your darshan. I feel very contented with your darshan. I am not even interested in those higher regions. Swamiji laughed and said, let us go inside and sit in meditation. So they went inside the room for about half an hour. Then they came out. And in the presence of those 10 or 12 people, Swamiji says, now Jamal Singh, tell me, when I wrote that letter to you, was your soul going into higher regions? He said, yes, Master. Swamiji said, I am not asking if your soul went into higher regions in the half an hour we meditated now. I am asking, did your soul go into higher regions when I wrote the letters 2 months ago? Yes, Master, my soul was going into higher regions 2 months ago. Then Swamiji talked to the other people sitting there. He said, when the soul is going to higher regions, for a person who is meditating, he is not able to see anything because he can get trapped there. The masters are preparing some people specially not to be trapped anywhere. Therefore, they put a blindfold. But when they remove the blindfold, you can remember you were there. And all that happened with him was, he could not be missing his master so much. He could not be feeling that love for the master so much if the soul was not ascending. Where was that coming from? It is coming from the ascent of the soul inside. And that is why masters very often block this experience till we take us higher and then bring us back to have the experience and show us you had it when you felt you were only feeling missing the master or you were feeling love for the master. So this is good to remember that masters customize our path for us. If they were teachers, they would tell the same teaching to everybody. If they are masters, they customize for each person and tell them exactly what they need at that time. Once I was young, but we used to sit around the great master. And once we were sitting with 10-20 people. Great master Baba Sawan Singh was sitting in his chair. And a man came and brought his young daughter with him. He said, Master, my daughter wants to go to college and I think we should get married. She should get married. Why should she go to college? The children, the boys go to college. Girls should run the household. Master said, no, what's the difference between girls and boys? They're the same. Let her go to college. He said, thank you, Master. And they both went away. Within 5 minutes, another father comes with his girl and with the same question. He says, my girl has grown up and she wants to go to college and we think she should get married. What is your advice, Master? He said, what have girls to do with college? Get married and run a household. 2 different answers given within minutes to 2 different people with similar problem at all. Altogether similar problem. It shows that the answers masters give is not a general answer from a book. It's an answer appropriate for that person. So that is why they customize our path. They know exactly what we did at that time. Somebody comes and says, Master, I can't do much meditation. My mind does not go. No, do more meditation. Sit more meditation. Somebody else says, Master, I've been doing meditation. Meditation won't help much. You should just do love and devotion for your master. 2 different answers. Somebody says, what is the secret of going to higher levels? Master says, more meditation. Somebody else comes and says, what's the secret? He says, grace of the master. Which is true. Grace or effort? Which one is correct? They give contradictions in the same book. You read about their books. Sometimes grace is more important, sometimes effort is more important. It's only when you reach above the mind you find grace and effort are the same thing. You find without grace you would never put the effort. But when you are in a state where your mind says without effort nothing comes, they say put in more effort. When they say read more books, one man came and said, Master, I'm very interested in this path. He said, read more books. The more books you read, the more you'll understand. Another person comes and says, Master, I've read all the books. It doesn't seem to be conveying the same thing. He says, put all your books into in a bag and throw them into the river. Two different answers. In my own family, my father got married to my mother. And my mother's mother, my grandmother on the maternal side, she was a great believer in worshipping little idols of Shiva, Brahma, and all those goddesses, Lakshmi, Durga. She had little images, and she had made a temple in her house. So she would sit there and ring the bell every day and put incense and make nice aartis and prayers she would do to those little images. Then my father, who got initiated by great master, he saw these things are all superstition. They are not real. He tried to convince his mother-in-law. He said, Mother-in-law, these are not gods. These are just little pieces of metal and wood that you are worshipping. God is inside. She said, stop it. You shut up and go and do your business. I know my gods. And don't try to interfere. They are such a divine people here, divine powers here sitting here. They help me with everything. What are you going to tell? When he failed to persuade his mother-in-law, ultimately he went to great master. He said, Master, I want my mother-in-law to also take advantage of what you have given me. He said, don't worry, I will visit her sometime. When I come to that city, I will visit her. So one day he came, and my father reminded him, Master, you said you'll visit my mother-in-law. He said, sure. He went to the mother-in-law and he said, I understand that you have a temple. Oh, yes, Master. Can I also go and pray there? Certainly, Master. So he goes there, he takes the bell and starts ringing it. And he starts worshipping both those little images there. And my mother-in-law is so happy. My father's mother-in-law is so happy. Grandma tells Master, my son-in-law is a fool. He doesn't understand. He doesn't even know you. At least he should know that you worship these idols here. And Master said, yes, we have to worship wherever we see divinity. Because God is everywhere. God is in every stone. God is in everything. And you are seeing God here is very good. So she was very happy. And my father looked like a fool. And he said, what is Master doing here? And he should be teaching the same thing he teaches in the Dera. So later on, he says, Master, my mother-in-law is very convinced with what you did. But don't you think you put her on the wrong track? He said, you wait a few days. She will come to listen to me now. She wouldn't have come on what you were saying. And of course, he said, the Master is real now. I have tested him out. He prayed to my own gods. He has to be real. So she went and began to attend this satsang. To cut a long story short, after a few weeks, she told Master, Master, I find that the truth is inside, God is inside. What am I going to do with all those gods and goddesses I've kept in my temple? He said, do you have a gunny bag? Where you bring the rice and wheat? Yes, I have an empty gunny bag. Put them all in the gunny bag, all those gods and goddesses, tie it up and with a prayer, dispose of in the river. She went and packed up all those gods and goddesses in a gunny bag and took her to the river Ravi in Lahore and immersed it there. She was very happy. Now, can you imagine that masters do something according to the individual? They know that ultimately what will take us is love and devotion. That's what carries us through. There was an instance where great master went to a Sikh temple where the people said, if he is pretending to be a guru, according to our Guru Granth Sahib is the only guru, we have the dictate. It says that after today, only Granth will be considered guru. The Sikh religion says so. He pretends to be sick. He is wearing a turban and having long beard, and he is not a Sikh because he is pretending to be a guru himself. The 10 gurus have been named in our Granth, and if this man tries to come to our town, Rawalpindi in Pakistan now, at that time it was part of India. If he comes here, we'll kill him. They went there and they took out their swords. That if he comes and tries to preach anything in this city, we'll kill him. So his secretaries got very nervous who were traveling with him. By the way, I was also there in that trip. And they were all so nervous, frightened. Tomorrow they'll kill our guru. But then the tradition has been that gurus have been killed. People who have been spoken the truth have been killed. So the guru didn't seem to mind it. And we were prepared for a big tragic battle the next day. Guru in the morning says, before I go and give a discourse of my own, I'd like to go to the temple, to the Gurdwara. They were all surprised that you're going into a lion's den yourself. But he said, no, I have to go to Gurdwara first. He went to the Gurdwara, bowed before the book, the Granth, gave 5 rupees from his pocket as a obeisance to the Guru, which is the Granth, the book, and sat in front. They were all stunned. They said, we thought he's pretending to be Guru. He's accepting our Granth as the Guru. Then he had a Patti, a chanter, who used to chant from the Granth Sahib in the Dera also. He was accompanying him. He told him, go and sit and take over the Granth Sahib and read the Bani of the 5th Guru, Arjan Dev. And then he began to read the Shabad, which said, unless you can see the face of a Guru, don't believe it. And the Guru, if he can give you a hug, he's taking away so much of your vices. He read that whole Shabad. Now, it was clear that a book cannot do this, no matter how big a Granth it might be. Kantalai of Gun Sab Mete. All those Shabads, when they were read, they were so affected. The people were so affected by this. They said, this man has come for truth. They put their swords back, and most of them became his disciples that day. We saw this miracle happening. That where their intention was to say, he said, no, I believe. If you believe that Guru Granth Sahib is your Guru, then follow what it says. Just follow what your Guru is saying. The Guru is saying the same thing that he was saying. So therefore, these Gurus know how they can act in different situations for different people. And therefore, they are not come to give a general teaching to everybody. And when you meet a Guru, you feel such a close personal friendship. You feel the Guru has come for me only. You get a strange feeling that this is really my Guru, and the others are just players around me. This strange feeling he can create by his unconditional love. That's the main secret, I tell you. A Guru, perfect living master's love is unconditional. No judgment at all. He will never judge if you're good or bad. Have you been good, then I will give you something, otherwise you won't. Never. A perfect Sadguru has never said that. He wants to come and give. I'll give you another example of the great master, Baba Sawan Singh. He was sitting there. A man comes running and says, Master, forgive me. You told me not to drink alcohol. I drank last night. Lot of it. You told me not to eat meat, be vegetarian. I ate meat with all my friends. You told me don't womanize. I did everything wrong. Last night was terrible. I committed all the sins that you stopped me from. Please forgive me. That master says, okay, you are forgiven. Now don't do it again. And he said, thank you, and ran away. That upset all the secretaries of Baba Sawan Singh sitting there. They said, Master, what is this? A man has committed so much sin. He has done so many wrong things. And you have just said, forgiven and go. He said, yes, he asked for forgiveness. What should I do? I have to forgive him. Master, supposing he does the same things again and comes to you, will you forgive him again? I think I will forgive him again. Master, when will you punish him? He said, don't put me in the category of punishers. Let me remain in the category of forgivers. That's the characteristic of a perfect living master. They don't come to punish. They come to forgive. And then he said, look, his mind is punishing him already. He's already punishing himself. He's being punished by the world, he's punishing himself. You want me also to punish him? He doesn't know. He is in a trap. I have sympathy for him. So I have to give in forgiveness. Masters, these perfect living masters, show unconditional love, no judgment, and forgiveness all the time. Compassion all the time. Characteristic. They're ordinary human beings like us. And yet they have these characteristics in them, which make them outstanding. And we can feel that unconditional love. We're pulled by that love more than anything else. Sometimes we don't even know what the teachings mean. Sometimes we go to listen to them and don't listen to a word, except to look at them and feel that pull of love from them. So that is why these perfect living masters, they give their teachings separately. They give their instruction according to what we need at that time.